Welcome to The Current by TreasureCoast.com, where we discuss interesting people, places, and happenings on Florida's Treasure Coast.
Yeah, why don't you give an idea of what you guys do and kind of like a brief overview so that it kind of sets the tone for
Nick,
what we're
why
going
don't
to
you
talk
get
about.
started, Nick? Yep.
Yeah, I can start. I'll tell you a little bit about the early days, the original vision, and then I'd love for
Yep.
Danny to expand on where we are today, especially with our events. Because originally, when the club was started, it was just a Facebook group. I thought, maybe we would get to 500 members, and that would be super successful if we ever achieved that. Now we're at 5,300 members. We have a very active group where we try to make it different from a lot of the other groups out there, where it's less about self-promotion and it's more about supporting business owners, helping them get answers to their questions, getting them connected to what they need, whether it's resources, training, people, and helping them build their business. And that's been going pretty well in terms of the organic growth just in the Facebook group. But then where Danny came in, he said, hey, let's do something in person in the community. And that was never my intention, but it's been one of the best decisions we've made. So Danny, can you tell
Yeah,
us a little
I
more about
remember when I was
the
sitting
in-person
down
aspects of the business club?
in my home office, and I was thinking to myself, I'm brand new to Florida. I'm here 4 years now, or at that time, 2.5 years. And I said to myself, I got to get back out into the community because in where I'm originally from in northern New Jersey, I had made an impact in person, meeting decision makers and influencers in the area. And I found the Port St. Lucie Business Club on Facebook. And the thing that caught my eye was the color and the design. I said, oh, okay, this is different. And, there's a lot of different traditional organizations and networking formats that work very well. But this one was unique and different. So I actually reached out to Nick. We met up at a Starbucks. And he thought I was crazy in saying, let's do some in-person networking events. He said, no, I don't want to get into that. Logistically, it's a nightmare. And I honestly said to him, I got your back. Don't worry. I got your back. I have some experience in doing this. Let's get it done. And almost 2 years, and we've seen some exponential growth, which I think is moving in the right direction, and it's all for a good cause. So I'm really excited about the future of the club.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I didn't realize. So you guys are from because Nicholas, you're from Boca. So
Boca
that's
Raton,
interesting.
yep.
So it was kind of like up here, just kind of something similar, make some networking, or I guess like an ecosystem that you didn't see before, or was it for you to network? Because you've got a marketing business. What kind of inspired it in place?
Yeah. Yeah, we moved up here just because we love the area and we wanted to get away from South Florida and buy a nice property up here. And I work from home. We have a marketing agency that's fully remote. So when we moved up here, though, it was never my intention to do anything regarding local networking. But it was after a year of being up here, I started wanting to get into the community and wanting to do something. And that was what inspired the idea of creating a Facebook group for business owners, because I had always been a sort of a community builder, but more in the marketing space and helping others build their communities. So this was the first time I ever did something that was hyper local. And then I started seeing the value of connecting locally. And I think we launched at an ideal time where people were
Yep.
wanting to get back out into the
Right,
community
right.
after COVID. And there was this perfect match of this opportunity to connect. It was a great area for it that was growing. There was this need for people to connect in person. And then Danny comes along and says, hey, let's have an in-person aspect of it. And that, I think, was really the catalyst that helped create even deeper connections between our members. And we've had events now almost every month where we've had upwards of 200 people
Right.
at some of our events. And for a networking event, that's pretty unusual. And we make it work and we
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
fun.
I think you're right. Putting like a face to it. It's one thing typing away on a keyboard and you're having these interactions, and maybe, okay, you strike it off with someone and you grab coffee or something. But at the networking events, it's almost like a lot of, you're almost like forced to kind of make those connections. Like sometimes you'll be sitting there and, you go around, because obviously I've been to a couple of these where you'll go around and everybody talks about what they do. And you think, oh yeah, I was looking for this. There was a guy who I talked to who was doing like moving and organizing. I was like, I just had a client call me today that needed that. Give me your business card. it's funny because you're kind of forced to make those in person and put a face to it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And in those type of formats, it definitely it can be awkward because it could be awkward to when I mean
Mhm.
obviously the intention is for everyone at some point to do business together. But I am a true believer that those type of situations happen organically as you build relationships and you build trust with individuals. So when we started
Right.
the club and we started the events, that's one of the things that we promoted from the very beginning is how do you identify those power partners and how do you naturally and organically merge ecosystems to work with people that you see that have similar values and belief systems and that are looking to support in a very organic and natural fashion. So that's the idea behind the Porcelain Lucie Business Club.
Yeah. Well, what was really, and Nicholas, I talked to you about this, but it was such a light bulb moment to me. The meeting you guys had at
Oh
Golf
yeah,
Galaxy. There was a one of the
Yeah.
last people that made their introduction was a
yeah,
magician.
yes,
Do you remember that? And I was
Mhm.
like, whoa, this really is like you've got,
Yeah.
because it is like I'm thinking like there's so many little niches. It's common, you go, okay, look, I'm in real estate. Oh, I'm in insurance. Oh, I do this, and things that
Yeah.
probably you're used to seeing frequently, but there's a lot of businesses and niches that I think feel comfortable going out there and
yeah.
making those connections that they might not in other avenues. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because you had mentioned,
And we try to welcome those types of businesses because we also a lot of our events are
right,
free, like the Golf Galaxy one. So it sort of attracts business owners who might not be comfortable paying, $20 for a
right,
luncheon or something. They're willing to just
Right.
take a shot and give it a shot with some of
right.
our events.
That was going to be my next question: is what makes the PSL Business Club different from other networking organizations? Because I know there are some that are grassroots, and then there are some that are more, chamber of commerces in the area. What do you guys think in that regard?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll share a few, and then I'm sure Danny has some additional ones. I think the number one thing that sets us apart is we do everything in a spirit of collaboration. So from the very beginning, we created very deep ties with other networking groups in the area to the point where people would reach out and say, "Wait a
Right.
minute, aren't you supposed to be competitors with XYZ?" And instead, we see it completely opposite, where we are deeply involved with the St. Lucie Chamber of Commerce. Both Danny and I are ambassadors for the Chamber of Commerce. We love the chamber. We go to all their events. Same with Martini Network, Shameless Promotion and Muffins, HR and Business Councils, Connect Sphere. There's all these groups that we love to support. And because of that spirit of collaboration, it has come back to us tenfold, where we have been able to grow through collaboration. So I think that's the number one thing. And then the second thing is we try to make networking fun. We try to do things different.
Yeah.
We do different times, different dates, different venues. We do morning events, we do evening events. So it's not like every
Right.
Monday night at so and so location, the same old thing. We switch it up. We've even had a magician at our 1 year
Yep.
networking anniversary party. We hired a magician, and it
That's
was a lot
awesome.
of fun. So those are two things that come to
Yeah, I
mind.
think
I'm
that
sure
the
Danny has some
key,
other
the most
aspects that
important
make
thing
us
about the
unique.
group is to make it different, unique, and fun. We all understand that getting to know and getting to introduce yourself to new people can be very intimidating. Um, and we believe that it shouldn't be that difficult. And yes, there is a place for well formatted professional settings, luncheons, breakfasts. But I think Nick and I have learned a lot from those formats in collaborating with them, in working and supporting them, and have learned from the good things that they've done and may have improved on some of the things that we believe would be much more beneficial, which is making it fun, making it engaging, making it different, and providing a different platform for people to feel comfortable doing business together.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting because I think you're right. I think for a lot of people, finding a way to make it less intimidating. I think there are a lot of people, especially people who are trying to, maybe it's a new business for them, or they're trying to grow like a side hustle that's taking off faster than they
Right.
thought it would have. And then like the collaborative side of it, I think is so important because I think in any industry that you're in, finding a way to, in any industry, I mean, people talk to us about other, event calendars or other news platforms or other travel and lifestyle publications in the area as if they're competitors sometimes. And I always think the same. It's, if they're doing
Right.
good, then we're doing good. And I think there's always a way that two people can come together and grow faster when you're thinking of that collaboration. So I think that's a really important point.
And I think the format also.
What is it? Do you guys have any?
I'm sorry, Josh. I last point that I wanted to make was that
No,
I
go ahead,
think
Danny.
the platform also
Yeah.
allows and breeds for those that are upcoming and building their business to grow. Because the one thing I've noticed in the very well formatted professional setting is that you have people who've been in their industry for 20, 25, 30, 35 years, and they're kind of set in their ways. Not that they're not willing to learn and open themselves up to mentoring, but they're pretty much set in their ways and they're transitioning out of their business. I believe that our group really nurtures those who are in the beginning stages, but also in growth mode and really making themselves known in the community. So that's also another big key difference of the Porcelain Lucie Business Club.
And one other thing, just to build on top of that, because you had mentioned, Josh, about the sense of being intimidated. A lot of people are intimidated going to networking events. That's a question that comes up all the time of, well, I'm not really used to networking. I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable in that room. And we try to go above and beyond to accommodate new people that have never been to networking events, whether it's our event or any event, to the point where now we have a volunteer aspect of the group called our community connectors, and we have about 25 volunteers. And one of the responsibilities of the community connectors is to attend our events and seek out new people. And we just ordered some stickers to identify new people. So if you want to wear a sticker that says I'm new or I'm a first time attendee, we have that so that they can easily be identified. And then a community connector can help them meet people who they want to connect with. And it just helps break down that barrier. So we're trying to always try new ways to make networking fun and break down all the pressure that people may have from the idea of networking if they're new to it.
That's cool. I mean, I think that's a good idea because then it incentivizes other members too to see who's new and might be their first meeting and then there might be some people who knew how they felt. And I think to Danny's point too, I know people who are set in their ways, or they might be, I guess, complacent is a good word, trying to get people out who might be, they're maybe comfortable in what they've been doing. So I think that's interesting that you guys have different times, different places, and there's things that can kind of fit into people's schedule and get more people out to the events.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you guys see? I mean, obviously with the networking and everything, do you feel like you have more of a finger on the pulse of, I guess, small business trends in the area, or what the overall sentiment is among some of these businesses? And I think that would be interesting to touch on for people who like might have a business now, but I'm sure there's a lot of people. I would imagine most people think about starting a business at some point, or they probably have like a small side hustle that they want to take on. I think that would be interesting to touch on for people.
Nick, you mind if I start this one off? I think you're right. There are a lot of individuals that are. My belief is that everyone has a passion that they want to pursue. Everyone has something that they want to pursue. They want to be their own boss. They don't want to work for somebody else.
Right.
The reality is that being an entrepreneur is not easier than working a 9 to 5. It just isn't. It's a 24/7 hour job. You do it all the time. You think about it all the time. I think that where the growth is in business here in Port St. Lucie is in not just supporting each other's businesses, but I think people make the mistake, and I got to be honest about this and transparent. People make the mistake that they can just pick a building, stick their name on the door, open their doors, and business will just flow in. And people go into business without first really taking a deeper dive and doing their research and doing their due diligence to identify whether this is something that is needed. Is there the market for it? Is there an audience? And if there is, how will I target my audience? And I've learned a lot of this in working with Nicholas, because Nicholas is been in the marketing industry for close to 20 years. It's tough to say, but it's actually getting almost there, up to 20 years. And one of the things we talk about a lot is I feel so bad for those businesses that have a passion, open up their doors, and then struggle, and then close.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we identify that sooner than later? And that's through the Porcelain Lucie Business Club format of networking. Is when people come in with a passion or a story or an idea, they can surround themselves with individuals who maybe see it from a different perspective and can kind of guide and mentor them to making more sound, educated decisions. That's how we're unique and different. We're proactive rather than reactive, in the sense that, oh, you have a business? Great, join our group. We're on the side of, hey, you have a thought, you have an idea, you have a passion, talk to us about it. Let's see who we can connect you with that can guide you and mentor you, and see if that's the direction you want to go in. So we're more of a proactive approach to networking than a reactive approach.
Yeah. Learn from all the 5,300 members so that you can avoid some of the same mistakes. And, sometimes it's just a matter of having that support system. And there really isn't a support system when you're an entrepreneur. But thankfully, with a resource like the Facebook group, even if you never attend one of our in-person events, you can get a lot of value out of the group just by posting questions. I'll give you a perfect example. This week, there's been a big issue with business owners losing reviews on Google. It's been in the news. Reviews are disappearing. So we've been on top of that situation, and we've been posting in our group what's happening. Today, there was an update from Google. We shared that with our members, and there's been a great discussion, and people are thankful that they know what's going on. So just little things like that, whether it's marketing, business funding, financial advice, we try to provide that platform where we might not have all the answers, but we can connect you with someone who does have the answer.
Yeah, that's it reminds me of a mentor I had one time that said a lot of people, when they're starting businesses, they think about the dollar signs, and they think about their own, what they're going to benefit. They don't always think about what value are they really providing. And that's something that I do respect about the Porcelain Lucie Business Club, because the way you guys have done things is really it's coming from a place of contribution. And I think that that's really a step that a lot of people have taken. I mean, that's a mistake. Danny, you had mentioned a lot of things that you had learned. I think that's something that I learned in some, ventures that I've started, where it wasn't coming from a place of contribution, or, hey, what value am I really providing people? And I think that that's an important thing, where you can surround yourself with people who can give you a fresh perspective on the idea that you have, and make sure that you are coming from a place that's providing real value for people.
Yeah. And it could be humbling sometimes, because when your idea is a passion that you've thought about for 2 years, and then you put it in front of a group of people and no one really sees that vision, it could be very humbling to you. And at the Porcelain Lucie Business Club, when Nick and I go around, here's one thing that we do that I haven't seen in a lot of groups. They may have done it in the past, and maybe they just don't do it anymore. But we go around and we meet everyone one-on-one. We try to meet as many people as we can, and we ask the questions: what brings you to the group? What can we do to support your business? And who would be a power partner of yours that you see yourself working with? Who is your power partner? Who are you here to meet today? And if they let us know who it is, let's just say it's a CPA or estate planning attorney, let's just say, for example. All right, great. I actually know someone. Come with me. Let me introduce you. Right? Let me put you in front of the right person. And then follow up. Nick and I do a great job of following up with our members and saying, hey, what'd you think about the event? Who did you meet? How did that conversation go? And did you guys schedule a one-on-one with each other? And that's why we have the community connectors, because we know that as we're going to grow, less and less Nick and I are going to be able to have those one-on-one conversations. And that's the power of our community connectors group. And that's the beautiful part about what we started, is that they volunteered because they saw the value, they saw the vision. And it's going to be one of those really cool stories to tell when we're older. Hey, look at what we built.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at the point now where we couldn't do what we're doing without our community connectors and without our leadership team. Because that first year was really about growth and trying to get to the numbers. Because as you know very well, Josh, a lot of it is perception, and you have to sort of have the numbers first. So when we were a group with 100 people in it, people really didn't give us the time of day. But now, we do have a little bit of some notoriety, I guess you could say, in the community, because people know that there's a lot of resources behind those numbers. But now it's all about how can we build out the team. And we have to give a shout out to our community connectors, because I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined we would build such an amazing team of volunteers. We now have over 25 volunteers who are helping promote events, like we said, working to meet with new members. And we have all these other social impact projects that we're working on. So it really takes a team to make this happen.
That's an important note, because I think it's a testament to the business club coming full circle. Everybody kind of benefits when you're able to collaborate, and it's not just about networking. Okay, you go to a meeting and you see who you can exchange business cards with, but probably at a deeper level. The community in general, like especially Port St. Lucie, it's the growth has been substantial over I mean, for a while, it's been growing quickly. And it's been interesting to see a lot of the business owners and people who have moved here who are kind of coming together, being supportive, collaborating, and having a way to support each other in a way that really hasn't existed in the past for most of them.
Yeah, I think we get that feedback a lot. We get feedback from people that come in and they tell us, we just moved from here, or we just moved from there, or we just came here from this place, and they're moving from everywhere. So it's growing. And the best part is that they're individuals and business owners from all walks of life, from everywhere. Port St. Lucie has become so diverse over the last I've been here almost 5 years, and in the last 4 years, the diversity has been tremendous, but not just diversity of culture, but diversity of thought processes, of experiences, of business experience, which is a huge catalyst of the success of the Port St. Lucie Business Club. Is because of all of those relationships. It's given us the fuel and that is necessary to expand, grow, innovate. And again, we keep mentioning the community connectors, but I remember specific conversations with them about, hey, maybe you guys can do this different, that different. And they're not doing it to take credit for what they've done. They're not doing it for that intention to highlight their business or to be selfish. They're doing it because they believe in what Port St. Lucie is going to become. They believe in the direction it's going in, and they believe in the group and in the collaborations that we're putting together. So that's huge in what we're seeing and in the change and the shift.
Yeah. And even with all the diversity in the area, the interesting thing is we see the same issues come up from business owners.
Yeah.
And we try to keep a close eye on what business owners want to learn about. So we recently did a poll in our group asking what topics are top of mind, or what topics would benefit you the most. And number one was digital marketing, and number two was finance, which is interesting because I come from a marketing background. Danny comes from a finance
very
background.
serendipitous.
So it's perfect. Yeah, it's very interesting. So we're always trying to get that feedback from the group and then figure out, okay, this is what the group wants to learn about or how they want to grow their business. Now, how do we serve that need?
What do you think are the biggest challenges facing some of these businesses? Is a lot of the stuff that you hear marketing? I mean, I'm sure when it comes to marketing, getting the word out, finances, making sure that they're managing any income appropriately. Is there anything specific that you see on a more recurring basis? What's challenging some of these businesses?
Yeah, It's really what Danny touched on earlier about before you get started, just having a sounding board, like not just opening a building, putting your name on it, and expecting business to start flowing, but what's the steps you have to do before that? That's the number one thing I've seen, is that business owners need a way to validate their business idea before they make that jump and before they make that investment. And we've, I think, done a pretty good job of giving them at least the verbal feedback from the group, so that they can assess whether or not it's a good idea to go in that direction or to pivot or to do something. So that's the number one thing I've seen, just having that support
Yeah, and I think
ecosystem
that
before you make a big
for the most
investment.
part, it's unfortunate that most of the soundboard, right? Like the feedback that you're getting is after the fact, after you've seen failure, right? Which is okay. It's okay to fail. There's nothing wrong with failing, getting up and doing it again, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think that, what I've seen in working with business owners myself, I've built my practice on working with business owners of different levels of business, from corporations to mid-size to small size. The reality is they're all business owners. They all have ideas, but they all have the same concerns, which is, how do I stay relevant? How do I retain clients? How do I acquire new clients? And how do I keep my people happy? Right? The money's secondary. The money will be there as long as you're taking care of the most important things. And the one thing that most commonly comes up in conversation, and I've identified it over the years, is that business owners aren't honest with themselves. They typically have an ego and believe that they know everything they need to know to be successful, and they don't need help. And that is not true, because I am horrible at content and marketing. I am horrible at podcasts. I'm so happy that you invited us to this. I know what I'm good. I know what I'm good at. I am very good with ideas. I'm very good with vision, seeing things through. I'm also very analytical and data driven. But when it comes to being creative from imagery and content and all of that, I defer that to Nick. But I think business owners have a very tough time being honest with themselves. And we're hoping that the Port St. Lucie Business Club is a platform where they can open up, be transparent, be honest, and we could be the resource or the platform that they can use to meet people that can help them with these concerns that they have moving forward. And maybe we won't see a decline in entrepreneurship and business ownership.
That's awesome to hear. I think that's a good that's a good way to bring it all full circle, I think. But before we end, what do you what's on the docket next? What's on the calendar? What do you guys have coming with the club in general, and what do you guys have coming short term? What events are coming up that people might be able to join in on?
Yeah, I'll cover some general updates, and then
Yep.
Danny, you want to tell us about the upcoming event? I think that would be awesome. So, in general, our Facebook group is growing like crazy, and we would love for any entrepreneurs or people who are even thinking about starting a business. Maybe you haven't pulled the trigger yet, but you're thinking and you want to have that sounding board. Join us. It's free. There's no cost. It's a private group, so you just have to request access. You can go to pslbusinessclub.com and get all the details. We also have on our website an event calendar that holds as many networking events as we can find that are not just the ones we put on, but like we're saying, it's all about collaboration. So the Chamber of Commerce, Shameless Promotion and Muffins, Martini Network, the EDC, all these different groups, we try to put those on there so you have one place to go. So you can get all that information on our website, which is
Yeah, we have a few upcoming events.
pslbusinessclub.com.
Some details for some of the future events are not out yet, but they're going to be very fun. So we always like to plan ahead of time, and we always like to garner feedback from our community and what they want to experience, what they want to see, what they're looking for. But February 27th at Guardians for New Futures, we're having our next evening event. It's at, again, Guardians for New Futures on February 27th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Shout out to our sponsors, Home Perspective, Easy Tech, Keller Williams, Jasenia Carrasco, and Oksana and Lauren We appreciate their support. And also we have a really cool food sponsor, which is Cam's Pizzeria. Again, local business owner, owns a franchise. One of the business owners is probably data-driven and analytical and really ingrained in the community. So that's our next event. And we're really excited about the future of the business club. And Nick and I are kind of exhausted, got to be honest with you, but it's so fun seeing the growth, because in October of 2023, we did not think that it was going to be this fast and at this stage of where it's at right now. So it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. That is really exciting. Again, I'm really appreciative of you guys being on here, talking a little bit about what you got going on. And we'll include links to like the Facebook groups and the website and all that in whatever show notes we have. We'll have it on the website and on YouTube, wherever people are watching this. So thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Current by TreasureCoast.com. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Follow us on social media or visit TreasureCoast.com for local events, tips, and news. Have a guest or topic you'd love to hear on the show? Let us know at TreasureCoast.com. Until next time, keep riding the current and enjoying everything the Treasure Coast has to offer. See you soon.